Good evening and welcome to the Self-Checkout Show. It is your favorite Christian talk show, and we are here and glad to be back on a beautiful Monday night in Chicago. We reached about 73 degrees today, I believe it was.
Yes.
And man, I went to lunch and did not want to come back from lunch. It was like that, okay? But we are experiencing some beautiful weather today. Unfortunately, it's going to be only like 47 tomorrow, but today was a good day, huh?
Yeah. I was going to say it's supposed to drop again. I thought tomorrow was going to be a good day too.
I thought tomorrow was like in the 40s.
It drops. Yeah, it goes down to 6 tomorrow.
Yeah, because this cold front is coming through tonight. It's supposed to storm.
Looks like it's raining again.
It started looking pretty rough when I was on my way home from work. And we're supposed to get some thunderstorms tonight, I believe.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, we are here and we are happy. It says tomorrow the high should be around 48. Boo.
Well, 56 in Naperville, so we're going to pray it stays.
It's going to be 50. You say 53 for me.
Well,
yeah, I'm at 66 here in Willowbrook, so there.
Yeah.
I just closed my blinds, my patio. I only did that because I have to go live, and it was
filled. That air was over there and run around and tell you to get in the basement or something. You know?
Oh Lord.
Nita, BFF Minister Nita, we're glad to see you tonight.
Hey, Nita.
Hey,
Daphne.
Daphne and I were at The Price is Right together Saturday. We had fun. They didn't call out. We were there. Good to see you. Don't rub it in, Nita. Don't rub it in.
Do not. Okay? Right.
You just as bad as that Apostle RJ.
Bad.
So yes, indeed. Listen, those of you that are here, go ahead and share right now. I'll be saying that several times throughout the broadcast tonight. Let's go ahead and get to sharing. And let me turn my volume down here. I'm gonna tag some people because I need the people in here tonight to help us with our discussion. But no, you're not sorry. I know you're not.
Right. I'm sorry, not sorry.
Thank you, Daphne, for sharing. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and get that done. Share. And of course, we're going to get into our discussion. But before we do, ladies and gentlemen, do not forget that next month, the month of April, the Self-Checkout Show will not be on the air. We will be, my mommy is here. Hey
Mama.
We've been praying for my mom, has been sick, but today she is sounding and doing a whole lot better.
Yay, praise
Thank God for that. I went out and took her to run her errands and stuff Saturday. It was always good to see my mama. Next month, we won't be on the air. We are having another round of Sharpening Our Swords classes. This time it is back to basics, and we will be teaching on the spiritual gifts. I won't be teaching. I'll just be hosting and facilitating. Our teachers are Prophetess Paula Dickens, Prophetess Angela Smith, and the one and only Dr. Apostle Linda Stennis. They're going to be teaching on the gift of discerning of spirits, the gift of miracles, the gift of faith. All y'all seen the flyer. I've been posting this since January. You've seen it. So we do want everyone to partake of at least one class, at least one. We would that you would participate in all five. All five classes is $100 for a total of 5 classes. Individually, they are, $25 each. But if you register for all 5, then you will get all 5 for the cost of 4. I believe that many times, in our quest to reach people and minister to people, sometimes we have a tendency to talk over people's heads, and we too deep and use these $20 words, and everybody falling out and running and shouting and have no knowledge of how to live day to day spiritually. And these classes are designed to enrich our lives. So we are going back to basics. All right. Where we can learn of the Bible and learn more of how to be effective Christians. not just ministers, effective Christians in these last days, because I believe that these are the last days. So join us for those classes in the month of April. And also, don't forget that this coming Saturday is daylight savings time.
Yes.
Oh, Saturday night, well, early Sunday morning, your clock is going to automatically go back when it reaches 2 a.m. It's going up to 3.
Forward.
It's going forward. You spring forward. So at 2 a.m. Sunday morning, it's going not to be 2, it's going to be 3, which means we lose an hour of sleep Saturday night. But that also means that my birthday is coming. Don't do that. Don't.
That is so far ahead.
I don't care. I do not
I'm gonna go with it.
So it's a sign that spring is in the air and summer is coming. I'm not going to do too much about spring because it done snowed in May before.
Listen,
so
yeah.
Right, but you don't have to say, everybody's on iPhones and smartphones, so it sets itself forward. That's right. Spring forward, fall back. I always forget that. That's this Saturday, so we're gonna lose an hour of sleep. Don't y'all fall asleep in church.
We love when daylight savings come and we fall back.
Yeah,
that bounce forward wears everybody out.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a lot. Okay, what am I doing here? I'm trying to tag folks. Okay, so that's happening this Saturday night. Daphne said she take her naps. I ain't mad at you. A nap is good when you reach about 40.
Good.
Once you start hitting that 40.
I don't take naps.
We praying about
I barely can. But every now and then on a Saturday, if I don't have anything to do, I might like to sneak me a nap. Or if we don't have a second service on Sunday, I might
take a nap every day.
Where we going? For my birthday, we ain't going that actual day. We're gonna be here. I plan on having a big old party, for my birthday this year.
Why are you having a big party this year, Pastor Will?
Because it's my big 50.
Whoop, whoop.
Big 50 coming. So I am excited and I am looking forward to it. See, that's Kamisha talking right. A good power nap is always in order.
Hey, Kamisha. When I take naps, I'm all discombobulated when I wake. I'm discombobulated when I wake up.
I gotta have one sometimes. Last Sunday, when I got out of church, service was so mind-blowing. I literally came right home and got right in my bed.
That's the best nap ever.
Do you hear what I'm saying?
After church.
So who going to Jamaica? Oh, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We switch it up from time to time. We change where we are seen. Tonight we are on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And after this show, we will post the audio podcast to Spotify. And I want to just put this up here because I make this stuff and I forget. You can follow us on Spotify. All you have to do is search for the Self-Checkout Show and hit that button to follow us. And every time we upload the audio version of this live show, you will get a notification and you can listen and share it with your friends, as well as our YouTube and TikTok channels. They are both at the Self-Checkout Show. We do want you to follow us and stay in tune with us and what we are doing. All right, so guys, we're here tonight to begin a very serious series that will take us through this entire month, every Monday this month. And my friends and I, we talk about a wide variety of things. There's always something for us to chat about. Good evening, Tab. How are
Tab.
you? Hey, Maybelline. She said, "Oh yeah, I had to take a nap." Yeah, I'm sure
After
you did,
yesterday's service.
because the Lord was really kind to you yesterday. So I know you had to take a nap. We love you. We love you, and we are still praying for you. By the way, Maybelline lost her father not long ago, and
Oh,
sometimes after the funeral, people tend to forget about you.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
But we
We
want you
talked
to
about
know
that.
that we have not forgotten about you, and
Yeah,
we are yet
that's right.
praying for you, and we love you. Hey, Tabby, Tabby, Tabby. Good evening. Good evening. Wait, what's this here? Because he's turning the big 50. My eyes, Lord, I'm so grateful to see my baby boy turn 50, which means I am so truly blessed to see this day. You will see it. We are saying you will see it. And not only you will you see mine, let me tell you about this lady.
Oh,
And we're going into our topic. This woman decides she wants to go on Facebook and tag me talking about she wants me to throw her a surprise birthday party this year.
She did. She
and
did.
you will.
Yeah.
And will. So
Mm-hmm.
we gonna have some sort of party for Mama. Her birthday is exactly 1 month after mine.
Oh,
So
yes.
we will definitely have. Hey, Charlotte, Charlotte, I
Hey,
miss
Charlotte.
you. I need you to know that. I miss you tremendously. Good God. Tell Mike and the kids we said hello. So yes, we like to talk about a lot of things, and most of us, everybody here, I believe, is Christian. And I was sharing before we went live that this show is something where we get to talk about a lot of stuff, Coach, that happens amongst church people, but a lot of people don't want to have this talk publicly, right?
Yes.
So I'm grateful to God. Okay, Charlotte, she said she's trying to work her schedule out. Work it out, Lord, work it out, because I sure miss you uh, up and through here, because I be missing so many comments and everything. But nevertheless, we are going to begin this series tonight, and it's a beautiful thing to be married.
Amen.
Um, all of you who are married or have been married or want to be married, I'm in the category of have been. Um, so it's beautiful when it's beautiful. But there are a lot of, and we say a lot on this show that we need to have hard conversations sometimes. And there are a lot of conversations that I believe should take place if you are in a committed relationship and want to take that relationship further into a life of marriage. And we're finding out as we go through life and via social media and the news and reality TV and all of that type of stuff, clearly everybody's not having these types of conversations before they jump the broom.
Mhm.
So we tonight, myself, Coach Crystal, and Dr. Nancy, are delving into some of those topics concerning marriage and what you should talk about before you say, I do. Good evening, Kimmy. Glad to have you. Love you. And to help us talk about those topics tonight, I have my good friend and sister, the prophetess Sherry Bean, who is going to chat with us tonight. Hey, Sherry, Sherry.
Hey guys. Hey, let's get it. Let's get it.
She said, let's get it. Let's go. All right. We're so glad to have you to share with us. And I wanted, as we go into this topic tonight, and this is part one, before we say I do, what's your sexual preference? So, I wanted Prophetess Sherry uh, tonight to join us for this particular lesson or topic because I saw a post that you made, Sherry, um, not long ago, maybe a week or two ago, two ago, and the Facebook post that you made asked a question of men and women whether or not they would be willing to date someone or get into a relationship with someone who has been, in your words on the post, who has been delivered from homosexuality, whether that be male or female.
Right.
And majority of what I saw was people saying, well, no, good for them, but it's not for me.
Right.
And there was one young lady in particular that was like, sure, why not? If God delivered them, come on, let's go. Let's do it.
Right.
And I'm
One.
going to, I'm telling you now, I'm going to post in a poll that same question probably tonight or tomorrow because I find it interesting that we have to even post questions like that on social media. But the reason that we have to, people, is because whether we know it or not, it is happening.
Yes.
It is happening. And what I mean by it's happening, our topic, what's your sexual preference, is a thing. Whereas I don't care what whether you want to acknowledge it or not, but bisexuality is a thing. Pansexual, asexual, all these different kind of sexuals. I don't know how they come up with these names. They call them sexually fluid now. It's a lot of different names to them, but whether we want to acknowledge it or not, it is a thing, and it is happening. And we have to be wise enough to know that everybody is not kept until they get married. And some people, before they do get married, they play a little over here and they try a little bit over here, to see, well, it is what it is. I'm keeping it rated G. Um, so, Sherry, I want to ask you, I want to start with you with this question. How important is it to disclose your sexual preference? And let me add something in that question. To how important is it to disclose your sexual preference or to say to the person you're in a relationship with, yeah, I've done that before. How important is that before getting into a committed relationship? And I want to hear from my viewers as well. Wherever you're watching, leave your comments to this question. How important is that? Sherry Bean.
So for me, it's like super important, right? From where I come from, right? So I ask that question. When I ask those kind of questions, I'm asking it from a personal perspective and I'm asking it from like a corporate perspective at the same time, right? So for me, I tell it. Do I tell it right? I'm more mature in my releasing information now than I used to be. I used to just say it like, boom, there it is. Deal with it or
Okay,
not deal with it.
let me stop you right there. For those of you who trying to figure stuff out, we don't want you to figure it out. Tell us, Sherry, what you mean when you say I tell it. What you tell what?
So I lived the lesbian lifestyle for 12 years. I lived my life as a man for 12 years. There was no like femininity. There wasn't, I don't bisexuality. Yeah. So when I was coming up in that community, that was not just something that was, it was either you were this or you were that. You were either the girl, you were the boy. You were either this, the feminine guy, or you were the masculine guy. And so I lived my life like that. I wasn't one of those who played around with it. I was in it. Like I was just in it. I lived with women. I had long relationships with women. So I didn't play with it like I don't play with it now. So it's different for me. And so because I lived in that community for quite some time and know a lot of people, for me, it's easier for me to tell it than someone walking up on me with someone and then them telling it, if that makes sense. Because people can be quite ignorant at times, right? I've literally been out and I've had people who see me and I look different now, right? and they see me, and the first thing they say after hi is, "Oh, I remember when we used to go to the gay clubs together." You know, just broad, just and I'm sitting there like, yeah, you know, there's nothing you can do because people do that. So for me, I'm pretty open about it. I'm pretty open about it.
So if you were, or if a young man was interested in dating you, or you feel like, you know, we went out a few times, and you think it could possibly go somewhere, how long do you think you should wait before you disclose that to him?
By the 10th interaction or date, he knows. He knows. And I think that it's unfair not to tell. I think you take people choice away when you don't tell, or you wait until certain things happen. There's no way I would wait until a week before marriage and say, I need to let you know that I live my life as this. So I think that's unfair. And so I give them the opportunity to say, this is something that I can deal with or not. And I've had men to say, you know, congratulations on your deliverance, but I don't think I could date a woman who used to be with a woman, because I'll always in the back of my head think you want to be with one. And these are saved men, right? We were just, I'm not talking about, and I've had saved men to tell me, I'm glad you delivered, but if you ever want to, you know, shift and change, I'm with it. Let me know. Let me be in on it. So I've had a lot of stuff. I mean, this self-checkout, we real, right? So I've literally had people come in after they know, you know, where I've come from. I've had them come in and say that to me. You know, I'm glad you delivered, but if by some chance you decide, you know, I would love to be a part of that. So you'd be surprised at some of the backdoor comments that you get, you know. And I think it's challenging in dating or courting, or whatever term you want to use, when people find out, right? Because they really have to be secure within themselves. And a part of that is, if I'm dating you, if I am into you, you know I'm into you. I make that very clear. I'm into you. So there's no reason for you to have to have an insecurity. Now, if you do, I can only be me, and that's an insecurity you'd have to deal with, and you'd have to see if that's something that you can live with. So I respect those who say that's not something I can live with. That's not something I could, you know, deal with. I honestly respect that, versus thinking that you can, and then getting to a point where every day it's a pick, right? I've seen that, where you going, how long you gonna be, who is with, you know, and those are things that happen, I know, in heterosexual relationships and all of that. But it's a bit different when you come out of something and you're entering into something with someone who maybe never has had that challenge, if that makes sense.
If it's no longer who you are, why share it?
Because, like I said, I believe, and I've had this happen, everything comes up at some time. I've just seen it happen. So I refuse to allow an outside to mess what's inside up when I can take care of that myself. Right. And I think it's unfair to the individual that I'm with for them to hear anything about me outside of me on certain levels, on certain dynamics. Right. I think that's unfair. And then again, I don't want to take away anybody's choice. Right. That's why I say by the 10th date, they'll already know, because by 5, I'm into you. Like, I really like you, because I just spent.
If it gets to 5, we going somewhere.
Right. And you need to know that, so that if you have feelings, you can either pursue those, or you can say, no, I that's not where I can do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dr. Nancy, you are a relationship expert, a marriage counselor, you and Pastor Martiz. Have you seen this in your practice, where you've had to deal with this, whether it be male or female, in marriage therapy, or whatever you call it, counseling?
Honestly, no, we haven't ran into it in our few years of counseling and or couples events and stuff like that. No, we haven't ran into it. And if we have ran into it, no one's been open to say this is what's been going on, or this is what has happened. I would also question, why are we waiting to date number 10? Because just like you said, by the fifth one, we're starting to have some feelings. So why aren't we telling prior to 10?
So that's why I said by day 10. I wasn't saying it had to be on day 10.
No,
But
I
I
mean,
was
like,
just,
yes. Oh, you said
yeah,
by. So there's no time, like any time between the first date and the 10th date.
yeah. So because like you said, if it's by 5, we already know that there's feelings. So I just kind of gave that number by 10 because I think that that's enough time. Because the first, second, third date, you may not be sure, but by that fourth or fifth date, and I'm over. If I just use, I'm over 55, so it doesn't take me long to know anything anyway. I either do or I don't. So
Coach Crystal,
I get
I like
okay.
that inquisitive look on your face.
Right,
I
right.
guess my question, because I'm the type of person I want to know everything up front. I don't want to jump off into anything without all the information. So if you're waiting till date 5, like until the feelings develop, if that's not their preference, wouldn't that be hurtful?
and I think that's a good question. So I would think it's just like anything else. There are just some things I don't think need to be disclosed on day 1 or day 2. If it was a
I agree
heterosexual
with that.
relationship, well, I guess it would depend on the person, but it's like if it was a heterosexual relationship, would you disclose? Oh, you know what? I just need to tell you that I used to be a stripper, or
I'm gonna
oh,
tell it all
I'm
because
sorry.
I'm gonna tell it all because I
Well,
want
see,
you to
that's why
have
I
the
say it's
choice.
preference. It's
I don't
preference
even,
because there's some people that do that,
yeah.
right up front. Like I said initially, prior to I would say my own maturing, I used to tell it right away. Like, okay, are you sure you want to go out with me? Because I need to let you know this, 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 and this. And there was some. I had people to literally rage. I've had so many different encounters with it. Like it's really not enough time to say that. I've had people go from calling me out of my name to literally acting like they wanted to fight, all of these things. This is date 1. This is
Mhm,
us just having a conversation,
mhm.
right? And so I think for me it would depend, but I definitely hear what you're saying and I agree with that. Then now there's like, I may be easier to say that I've been into some other things versus this one, right? Because this one is a
Mhm.
big one. Right? So I may be able and apt to say I did some other things. We're having this conversation about that, but definitely, it could be a preference. I know some people um, that come from out of the lifestyle and have been delivered out of the lifestyle. Say uh, they told them on the third or fourth day, and they never saw them again. I know some people that said they told them, and they're getting ready to get married. So it really just depends. So I agree with you.
I would
So
also say I
Beverly,
would
I
think
put
that
this
it would
comment
depend on
here.
like the tone of the relationship, maybe as well, or um,
Oh,
Oh, wait, what happened? Come
stuck
back
a
to
little
me,
bit.
Dr. Nancy. Come back to me. Come back
It
to
might.
me.
no. Can you hear me?
We can hear you
Okay,
now.
there you are. You back.
I'm gonna have to have my husband do something about this. I don't know what's going on, but I would say, or I'm thinking that maybe it would have something as it relates to what Prophet is saying. It would have something to do with the tone of the relationship. So, like, maybe if you were friends prior to, how some of us have been friends and then we start dating, then yeah, immediately. But then maybe if you just met, at the gas station and you go out for dinner or something, maybe not on that one because you really don't know each other.
I
You
think
just
that's
meet
I
each
think
other.
that's important
Right.
because if we were friends prior,
Yeah,
we kind of already know each other, even though
yeah.
you may not know that part, right?
Right. You
So
know of
it's
each other. But
easy.
if I
It may
met you
be
at the gas station, I
easier,
have no clue as to who you are. So
right?
maybe we need to meet each other first and make sure that,
Yeah, yeah.
and then maybe
Right. Right.
In
I
that
mean, if
case,
you if
we need to go out on a date, and I need to see if I'm even gonna like you,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
because I'm
Yeah.
not
Right.
going on a
I'll go
date.
with that.
Yeah, I'm not going on the first date if I don't really know you like that and
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
spilling all the tea on the first date. We
I'll
ain't
go with
doing
that.
that.
I'll go with
Yeah.
that. I'll go with
Yeah.
So
that.
we doing
So
so I think the basis of what you're saying is comfortability.
Yeah.
I
I
Because
think
think
that's
that's what
there's a
she's saying as
level.
well.
I think that there's a level of comfortability with a person that you're friends with,
Or at least
and then
familiar with, because you may not
eventually
even be
start
friends
dating.
with, you may not even be friends with the person, but at least you have some knowledge. You're familiar with
some
them to
knowledge
some
of them. Yeah.
degree.
So it
So
may
I
be
guess I can give you
easier.
that.
I think
Yeah.
it's easier to talk to someone that you have knowledge of, they have knowledge of you about something that's serious, as opposed to somebody that you just met at the gas station, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
See why
Kim Fleming,
that's bothering me.
why is that
I need
bothering
to
you?
know out the gate
And
because
If
you know
that's
if
what?
something.
I
I
get
feel
it.
like this,
I understand that. I totally understand what she's saying. There's a young lady that said if we were talking on the phone, and that's for safety for some people. So I get it because I
Yeah.
told you guys I actually seen people rage, go off and be ready to fight. So I get exactly what you're saying. I get it. But for me, that's what I'm saying. Just for me, I'm not saying anything on the phone. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to
I don't
necessarily
think
expose myself
I don't think
like
that's
that
wise
on
to
the.
do.
Because then I guess everybody in the world, if we did it that way, and I'm trying to just be open and look at it from all angles, if if we ran around or if she ran around doing it, then everybody in the world would know your business. And I guess that's not necessarily a
Exactly.
part
Yeah.
of,
Well, she had
but
Yeah.
mentioned
I agree with
before,
that.
like, okay, so let's say you on a first date, you run into somebody that you know, and they disclose it.
yeah,
Oh, this was you
yeah,
doing this now. So
yeah,
I mean, and
yeah,
what I'm thinking about is you hear so many stories where people have waited and they didn't say it up front. And then those people either end up dead, attacked, just like what she's saying,
yeah,
they'll go into
yeah.
rage. I feel like it's a softer blow when I tell you from the get go, because at this point, I'm giving you the opportunity to say, well, I could probably take the time to get to know you, or, yeah, we could still go out. I can look over that, or whatever. I don't want to do it, or whatever it is. Well,
I
by
think
date
that it could
five,
be. I think that could go either way. I like that, Coach Crystal. I like that, and I also, like I said a minute ago, I think that if we're just meeting, if we bumped into each other in the store, we just met. I find you attractive. You find me attractive. We want to go out on a date. I still don't know you. I don't on that very first date. I'm not going in and saying, "Hey, by the way, you know,
Right.
I think I want to feel you out a little bit, see where you at, see if I think this is going to go anywhere. Because if I have a feeling or I know I'm not going to see you again, I'm not telling you nothing. So I'm trying to get to some of these comments, guys. There's so many. This is
One of
why
the
I
things
miss
that was
my
good was
Charlotte.
one of the things that was
Go ahead,
good was
Sherry.
what
I'm sorry.
Miss K said. I don't know if you guys can hear me. Is it Kermisha?
mhm,
I like what
Kamisha?
she said. Uh, I think it's also a matter of what your intentions are. If you are at a certain age and looking to be married, the game changes, and you know what everything you want to know everything up front. You're not wasting time. So I think that
I agree
how
with
you
that.
start is good too, because like I heard Coach say, if we're talking on the phone, if we talked on the phone several times and we did all of that, you'll know by the date. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm,
Because
mhm.
we've talked, we've communicated, we've done all of that. We've had that interaction. So yeah, I need to let you know too, because there are that. I don't know if you guys remember, if I could go back real quick, there was a time in the city of Chicago when we saw transgender men were being killed, young
yeah,
boys, and they were all being
Yeah.
killed because they weren't disclosing. And when
Mhm.
yeah,
the people found out, they did what they did. When I was in the gay community, I remember going to a gay bar, and there was this young lady, absolutely beautiful. She was dating a girl that was in the bar, but she also was dating a drug dealer. And the
oh,
drug dealer's friends saw her go into the bar with the young lady. They went and told him. He waited till the bar was closed and we were all coming out. He ran her over. Not
Wow.
only did he ran her over, he backed up over her.
Oh,
see,
And it was because
Wow.
he said, if he said this, he said, "You embarrassed me in front of my friends, right?
exactly.
You did this in front of my friends." And then he said, "You should have told me." After he got through calling her everything, he said, "You should have told me." But she had been in a relationship with him for over a year. So she had kept that from him for over a year, right? And so this is why I'm saying it. And I think that Pastor Nancy said it too. It's a level of comfortability. Nowadays, I think it's even better to have conversations on the phone before you necessarily go out,
Yeah,
because you can get a great feel over the
I
phone.
think
You
Nita,
know,
I'm gonna put
yeah.
that back up. Nita said that.
Yeah, you can get a great feel over the phone. And like you said, if I know it's not going anywhere, I'm not gonna disclose that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. But if I feel like it is, then you have the right to know that.
Because let me
And I
tell you,
think that
on a first date, you probably can tell. You know what? You have crazy. I ain't gonna see you again. So
Right.
I think you kind of know whether you want to see somebody or not. I want to put this back up. Tammy Joseph, hey girl, she said yes. I would want to know that even before we go out on date one, if I'm dating for a serious relationship, I would be annoyed that I wasted time. Now, on that, I want to ask this. You said that Tammy would said that you would be annoyed that I wasted time. So what I'm seeing is that if the man was formerly gay, what I'm hearing Tammy say is, I ain't going out with you. That's what I hear. And I is that I'm gonna throw this one to Coach Crystal. Is that fair to say?
That's 100% a fact. Is what she's saying.
Okay.
I mean, if everybody, each individual has a preference. This is what I like. This is what I want. And if I'm the type of person and I meet a guy and you've been in a different type of lifestyle and we've been on 5 dates, I may have kissed you. I may have gotten close to you. And if that's not what I want, I'm going to feel betrayed. I want the truth up front so that I can make a choice in that moment. It's not even going to be a question for me. Are you worth it? Because that's not my preference. So, but if it is somebody's preference and they're on a path where they could go either way, okay, you say you delivered, I'm gonna try to take this path with you. It's better for them to know up front so that they can make that
so when you
decision.
say up front, I like that, Coach. I like talking to her.
Well, Coach
I
Crystal
like
ain't no
that.
joke. He is
Yeah,
no joke. Okay.
I like that because when you think about it, I get it. But when you say up front, like for me, I guess that I'm looking at it from if I meet the person in the grocery store and we talk for an hour in the grocery store, I promise
Well,
you in
you're
that
probably
grocery.
not gonna have it in that conversation,
No, but
right?
what I'm saying, but no, you're talking about. I get what you're saying there, but you said something that I wanted to address. You said I may have kissed. And I think it's the responsibility of the individual to even before it gets to that point, there needs to be a conversation.
That's
Definitely.
what I'm saying. I
Again,
don't feel like it should be 5 dates. You know,
but
if you're
that was just a number.
if
That was
it's
just
two
I said
women, if
one
it's
between one and.
yep, if it's two women, two men, a man and a woman, whatever the case may be, if I have a preference and I'm going on a date and my normal run is I may not be with you sexually, but after 4 or 5 dates, we done been out, I done enjoyed you, we've had a good time, I might kiss you. You might walk me to the door, I might kiss you, I might hold your hand, I might hug you, I might do other gestures that I may want to do with my preference only. So now I might not talk about it. I might meet you. Hey, how you doing? We exchange numbers. I might get you on the phone. I got a pretty good level of discernment. I'm probably gonna pick it up on the call, or I'm gonna pick it up in something that you said or a mannerism. Something's going to come up that I'm going to question. I'm going to want you to be the one to tell me because I don't want to accuse
And
you of
well, they
anything and I'm
should.
wrong.
I totally agree with you. Well, they should. Well, they should. Um, that's one of the things that, believe it or not, that I do. But I learned that over time. When I feel like a man wants to even hold my hand and do all of this, we need to have a conversation. We need to have a
So
conversation, and I
what
need to tell you
happens?
this.
I want to ask Coach Crystal this question. So what happens? And what I'm hearing, and I love this. What I'm hearing, I think Sherry said it earlier. What I'm hearing is, tell me soon so that I can make a choice.
Mm-hmm.
When you
But no
wait,
two people
That's what I'm
soon is the
hearing, and I
same.
like that.
it doesn't even matter the time frame because we've already clarified that. But when you wait and you've already started to develop some type of, oh, I like this person, or they a
But
good
I think that
person,
should be the time.
you're
Yeah.
taking away my choice.
Yeah.
I have the option to choose just like you do.
Yeah.
So I may say
Exactly.
something to
Absolutely.
you. It might not be that. I may say something to you that you don't like. Oh, I don't
Mhm.
date people that do that.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
now we 5 or 6 days in, you're gonna feel a little. Well, you could have said that from the beginning.
Right.
If there are, I'm
So,
just an advocate that you should be having real conversations early, and I mean early.
Yeah, early.
But
Definitely.
I,
Talk
so
about the
what
trust.
happens? What happens now if the person does not? Let me back up. The person is truly no longer that person. Okay. And you are into this guy, and I'm coming, Dr. Nancy, because I need you for expert advice. But I want to hit Coach Crystal again with this.
Okay.
That's not who he was anymore. He is truly 100% no longer that person. He's dating you. You are really into him. He's really into you.
He's told me.
And when it gets serious, I'm sorry.
He's told me.
No, that's why he just said when he gets
No,
serious.
not yet. It y'all really into each other. It's been a while, and it looked like he may be the one to put a ring on it. And then he says, "Hey, Crystal, baby, by the way, um, I
We got a
used to."
problem. We got a
We
problem.
got a problem.
well, she would be right, Pastor
Houston,
Willie.
we have a
She would be
problem.
right.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
Everything on
That's
that
not it's
side.
she
not
would be
fair
right.
to play with people's
Yeah.
emotions and or feelings and to take away their ability to choose. I need to be able
Tammy
to choose
Joseph.
whether you've been
I
completely
gotta be able to choose.
whether you've been completely delivered or not. That's between you and God. But when you want to be in a relationship with me, as it relates to that, now you have to give me an opportunity to choose whether or not that's something I want to um join in on. There are a lot of factors, even as such, being that I'm a Christian and or maybe saved. If that relationship happens, then now I need to go to God about it too, maybe, because the Lord is going to have to say, all right, now this is it, go for it, it's okay, and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So like, here we go again, there are layers.
Layers. Well, I think that what it
Layers.
is that it's leaning more towards the comfort of the person who's gone through the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do something like you're carrying on and you're saying, well, I'm gonna wait till the right time to tell them. I get that you need a level of comfortability. You want to feel safe. I get that. But when you're dealing with someone that you're not sure that that's something that they agree with,
Mm-hmm.
it you start to take something from me.
And
Now you're
because
putting
let's
me in a
let's just be
different frame
honest
of
too. Let me
mind.
toss this in there. Let's just be honest too. There are health concerns, that people will have as well. So,
Yeah.
again, it's a matter of whether or not this is a choice. I want to be able to make the choice as to whether or not this is something that I want to do.
And I think if I could just
Now,
join
is
in, I could
that
say this. I think that everybody should have that choice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an advocate for it. I
Yeah.
think that everybody should have that choice. I think it's totally unfair to
Take
get
that
to
away.
those things. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely think that. Um, there's instances where now one of the questions I never thought you'd have to ask is were you born a male, were you born a female, all of those things are now questions that you have to ask. So I'm in 100% total agreement with that. And I think that when we look at it, like you said, health issues, different things like that, and I look at it from the perspective of most people in their mind, what they see is the sex. They
Mm-hmm.
you didn't
True.
lay with a woman, you
Yeah.
didn't lay
True.
with this dude, you didn't
True.
did all this.
True.
They see that, and
True.
it's hard to get past that,
True.
right? And like Coach said, that's just not me. I can't. My mind, no. My heart, no, can't do it. And that's perfectly okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's unfair to say if for some people, I'm not ever comfortable telling people I like that. Can I just be honest here and say that? I'm
Mm-hmm.
not comfortable always saying this is where I come from. And one
Mm-hmm.
of the reasons, Pastor Willie, Dr. Nancy, and Coach, is because of the reaction that I get. Is
Mm-hmm.
because of the rejection that you suffer. Is
Mm-hmm.
because of the
there it
I'm not
is.
sure. Are you really delivered? I hear you saying
Mm-hmm.
that, but are you sure you're
There it
not gonna
is.
go back? Are you sure you don't have feelings for all of those things, right? So it's a lot, but because I value people and I value those whose opinion matter, because your opinion matters if you're gonna be in a relationship with me. So I have to say that, but there's, for me, there's not a level of comfortability, so to speak. I can have conversations with people. I've had conversations with people who I thought would go somewhere, and the moment that I said it, and it was a third, fourth conversation, moment that I said it, oh yeah, no, that's not something I can do. I don't really know if you deliver. All kind of stuff come up, and again, that's the person's preference. That's all of
It
that.
is.
But you get off the phone, and there is that challenge of saying, I should I even say this anymore? Is this something I should even disclose anymore? You know, all of these things. So there's, as you said, there's layers to a lot of it. There's layers to a lot, because I've seen people that can get into a relationship with male strippers and hookers quicker than they will someone who's been in a homosexual, a lesbian
You ain't
lifestyle.
wrong. You are not wrong.
And
Is it just sexual preference, though? No, it's not. We're going to talk about a few more things down through the rest of the Mondays in this month, Kamisha, but I totally agree with you. It's a whole lot that needs to be talked about before, but I just wanted to pinpoint this particular one tonight. And I'm loving this conversation because we agree that um, the person, if a person is going to date someone that was or is a part of the LGBTQ community, the person that you're dating needs to know they have the right to choose. They have a right to say, you know what? I appreciate your honesty. I trust that you are 100. Yes, I like you. Yes, let's date. Or they can say, you know what? Thank you for your honesty. I hope that your life is good, but that's just something that I'm unwilling to do for whatever reason. But we people, you cannot take that choice away
you
from
cannot.
people. Now, let's get into the church part of it. Because it is for fear. And it is, Sherry used that word that just rang in my ear, rejection. Because if in fact you are truly no longer that person, let me tell you, it's hard to be a new person in a black church. I say black church because I've been in black church all my life. Because some people, not this is not everywhere, y'all, just some people across the globe. Some people, Sherry, and I'm sure you have found this. I found this before. Some people will always hold you to who you were, and they never ever say, you know what, Sherry, all right with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm just for example, and it's difficult being a part of that community in the church because of the fear of what's going to be said, the shame of it, the guilt of it, the rejection. So now we have people who are masking that part of them, Coach Crystal, because of the fear of what's going to be said. If I am honest and say, well, yeah, I used to be, but I ain't no more. And we have them marrying and procreating, and they never, some never really dealt with that part of them. Let me tell you right now, abstinence is not deliverance. You can post that.
It's not.
Abstinence is not, just because you don't do it, don't mean that you are free from it.
And don't mean that you won't do it given the opportunity. So
Huh?
it's the truth. I listen. I've had people in leadership um, have same sex attraction for me, but they were married. And when the rejection came, me being absolutely not, no. then the hatred came, then the lies came, then the deceit came, then all of these layers. Again, so many things happen because I can spot someone who's either come out of the lifestyle, in the lifestyle, and not telling anybody, or just confused a mile away. Anything you've been delivered from, you can look at and say that's it, right?
Amen.
And the
That's
thing
true.
about deliverance, and this is one thing that I've told my family and I've told people that come up, I don't have to prove my deliverance to you. I just need to walk it out. So if you don't believe on that, that's between you and whatever you believe. I don't have to prove that. I just live that out. And so there are those who say, I've had people in church that say, well, I don't know if she's delivered. I'm gonna just wait and see. What you waiting to see for? Don't you have something to do with your
What you
life?
waiting for?
Why are you waiting to see what I'm gonna do? But it happens. It happens. And more often than not, the people that you would think are not, they are. They're challenged. I've seen it. They're challenged because we think that there's a certain look. If he's a feminine and she's masculine, then that's got to be what that is. But I know people that you can walk down the street and you would never know, but they're going home to somebody look just like them, right? And it's hidden, right? I just happen to be one of those people that refuse to hide anymore. I mean, Pastor Nancy have known me for years. And I tried to be what everybody else wanted me to be. I tried to wear the clothes they wanted me to wear. I tried to talk like that, whatever. Once the freedom came, now it is what it is, right? But it is that there is that stigma, right? If somebody asks me to go to their ministry and tell the story, then you could just tell the room gets like weird, right? Because you got people like, oh, but it's weird
Yeah.
because there are people who may be sitting in there dealing with that, and they don't have that safe place to talk about it. They don't have that safe place. So it's a lot. It really is.
And unfortunately, um, many churches um, are not a safe place for that. It's just the truth. I'm sorry, but it's true. Nita said they have pride churches, and they have churches that will ban you for your sexuality. I don't necessarily agree with banning people from church, because the church. Hey, my favorite Sheridan, the
Hey,
church should
Sheridan.
work for gay people and lesbian people, LGBTQ, all them letters. The church should work for them just like it works for an alcoholic or a
Yeah.
Mhm.
drug addict or whatever. So you don't put people out of the church because they're gay or bi or whatever. No, you preach the same gospel that you preach to the
Mhm.
adulterer or that you
Mhm.
preach to the gossiper.
Mhm.
You preach the same gospel and let the word do the work.
That's what did
That's
it.
what I believe should
That's
happen.
what did it.
And not shame people and not have them coming to the altar every Sunday. Don't call folks down to the altar every Sunday. You're gonna pray them till they deliver. No, don't do that. That's embarrassing. And this is one reason why a lot of people in the lifestyle don't want to have anything to do with church because they're constantly called out. Reggie Royal, Pastor Reggie Royal, I will never ever forget as long as I live. His ministry Lifeline, one year they had on T-shirts and everything, and they went to the gay pride parade
They did.
and just loved people. They hugged people, and the T-shirts said, "We love you. God loves you." There was no judgment. There was no condemnation. There was none of that. They just wanted to show people the love of God. And they showed it to some people who really felt either one, God doesn't love me like this, or two,
Absolutely.
the church don't want me. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Mhm.
important for the church to see, and I think Sherry, you kind of hit it a minute ago. There's something about this old church. I love the church. Long live the church. But the church will deal with some of everything easy. But this one thing, it seems like the hardest thing for them to for the church to deal with. I hope that changes. Hey Patrina, how are
I
you?
think if I could say this,
Patrina was there. She said yes, we did. She was there. She was a part of that. And that is something I hear you, Sherry. You can come right behind this. That is something that we should let shine, shine, shine. Is the fact that no matter who you are, no matter what you are, no matter where you are in life, God loves you just the way you are. Yes, there should be some type of change after you come in contact with Him. But the fact is, people are who they are and they love God and God loves them. And that's just how it is. Sherry, you were about to say something.
I think when the church wants to get to the root and stop hitting at the tree, things will be different. Because a lot of times it's just a they look like a girl, they talk like, all of that. They look at the outer, the sexual part of it, but the root is there's something on the inside that's going on. There's an inside manifestation that is showing on the outside. For me, it was rejection. For somebody else, it could be rape. For somebody else, it could be something else. So when we're able to get and dig at the root, when we can love enough to get to the root and stop hitting at the leaves in the tree, then we could probably see more freedom. When we can create that space
Yeah,
called safe, when we can
yeah,
create that where people can come and say this is what's going on. You know rejection is a demonic thing from hell with so many tentacles that manifests itself
Mhm,
in so many different
mhm,
ways,
mhm.
right? And what people don't know about people that are in the lifestyle, at least I know that there's self-sabotage, there's hatred, there's people you want to kill yourself, there's so many other things that go on inside and nobody touches that because all they see is the sex, all they see is this, all they see is that. They don't know the darkness that you deal with from the inside out. This
And
ain't
I
something
think,
this is something I know.
Sherry, giving way to what you said as it relates to the people in the church, because the church belongs to God.
Mm-hmm,
He said, "Upon this rock I will build my church." So the
mm-hmm,
church is God. So let's make that separation and first of all do that. So it's not that the church, it's the people inside of the church that are
mm-hmm,
flawed. And I also believe that there are areas where the church needs to be educated. This may be one of those areas, just as is mental health, one of those areas.
yeah.
And a lot of
True.
times, even marriage in those areas. And the church needs to be better equipped to handle those areas, which is why so many people that have dealt with this lifestyle have been mishandled because the church or the people in the church, the people that are running the church, our pastors, our leadership, don't really know how to handle it or how to answer those areas like you're speaking of. You dealt with rejection. Well, how many times do we have any departments or ministries that deal with rejection and or abandonment? And you know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
a lot of those areas need to be dealt with, like you're saying, so that we can get to the root of it and minister to the root spiritually and naturally, or shall I
absolutely,
say, first naturally,
Mhm.
then spiritually.
Spiritually. Mhm.
absolutely, absolutely.
Coach
Because
Crystal,
go ahead.
do you think that in this case, if there is a person who says, you know what, I'll give it a shot. If that's not you anymore, okay, let's see what happens. Um, do you think, Coach, that there is in the back of that person's mind possibly a fear uh, or a distrust that says, I think they may step out on me?
Well, that fear is in anybody. It doesn't matter if you're in a relationship with someone who has been delivered or you're with a straight
Right,
person.
right.
That thought process exists in everybody. Am I good enough? Is this person going to revert back? And that could be to whoever the previous woman was, to
Hmm.
whatever the lifestyle is. I don't think that's indicative of just this conversation. So you can't just pinpoint it to that. Do I think that there's always going to be a question? Are you really delivered? Whether they verbalize it or they don't, it's there. It'll always be the elephant in the room unless they've done it
Um,
themselves.
So, Coach, if can I ask you a question? Because I think
Mhm.
that's good. Do you think that it will always be the elephant in the room if it was a straight person that just had a lot of sexual partners, or would it always be the elephant in the room if it was, someone who, you know, just whatever? Would
If
it
you were
always be that? You think
previously,
so?
if you were uh a nympho, it's gonna be a question. If you were an
Mm-hmm.
abuser in a previous relationship, it's gonna
Mm-hmm.
be a question.
Mm-hmm.
If you were
Mm-hmm.
sexually molested as a child, it's going to be a question. While we know that
Mm-hmm.
all of these things you can heal from, I don't know what the trigger is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going to bring it back up. I don't know. And if you don't know, if you haven't pinpointed and you've just been delivered and you say, I've picked up, I've moved on, and this is what I'm doing now, you don't know what's going to trigger you down the line. Anything. You could lose your job. You're going to revert back to what's comfortable,
Not
the
if you've been
familiar.
delivered. I have to disagree with that. I think that if you've been delivered from something,
If you're
you don't go back
100%
to what you've
delivered,
been delivered from, because
but
you've been delivered. There's no back.
let's talk about alcoholics. They sober, clean and sober, 20 years. You got your chip. You've made all of your amendments to people. One thing could happen and that lifestyle comes back up. It's a
If
trigger.
if they allow, because I've been a 12-year crack addict too, so one of those things too. And I've been clean for 28,
Mm-hmm.
And it's a daily
and
fight.
and everything happens, and it is a fight not to have the old thinking, because before I pick up a drink, a drug, or whatever,
Hmm.
I have to go all the way to a thought process. I have to
Hmm.
kick out everything that I've known. I have to kick out everything that I know is real, everything that has worked this far. I have to
Hmm.
kick that out, and then I have to say this is the answer. So
Mm-hmm.
before I go back to certain things, because we have a choice, right?
Right.
There is no way that God is not giving a way out. So we have
That's
a
right.
choice.
That's
So
right.
before I go to sleep with Susie,
Mm-hmm.
there are steps and measures that I can get out of if I want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let me put it like that,
Exactly.
if I want, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we're saying that there always be that elephant in the room, then there has to be that discussion when married people. I'm sure that wherever you guys are married, so there's those things, right? So when I feel like a certain way, if I have that, I can come and have that conversation and say, this is how I'm feeling now. And I get what you're saying. For there are triggers and all of those things. I go to therapy. I do a whole lot of stuff so that I can stay well. So when a person is delivered, they take whatever measures to stay delivered. Now, if they're abstinent, then that means I'm just not doing. I'm just not doing it. But if an
Right.
occasion
Yeah.
arises and it look good, feel good, and I want it, I'm probably going to do it. But if I'm delivered from something, I'm
Mm-hmm.
really delivered, I don't have the taste for it.
Yes.
I don't have the appetite for it. My appetite has shifted and
True.
changed. That's
But
just
what you
for
have,
me.
but this is the thing. As a person who's never experienced what you're experiencing, that question will always it will be there. Now, I'm not saying later on down the line, hey, we've been together, it's been 10, 15 years, I've had no issues, they've been pressing forward, they're in it, that at some point that elephant in the room isn't going to start to diminish and go down to a cat in the room. It'll go down to a little mouse in the room, and then eventually it will disappear. But it would be wrong for me to say, as the person, that I'm not going to always have that thought in the back of my mind.
I that's why I wanted to get a clarity. I just wanted
Yeah.
to understand where you come, because everybody has something. So when we have this community that has that, we have another community that has something else.
Hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. I wanted to know how that, because a lot of things are new for me. Wanting to be in a heterosexual relationship and married is new for me. So guess what I do? I go talk to people like a Dr. Nancy or somebody. How does this work? Where does that go? How does that? All of these weird stuff that I ask, because I'm now trying to learn a new method, a new way. So all of those things,
Yeah.
and I hear you when you say that. That's kind of. I just wanted a clarity on that.
Yeah.
In relation to this topic and that question that Sherry posted a couple of weeks ago, one of the answers that came from would you or would you not date someone from that lifestyle, a young lady says to Sherry, she said, I'm not sure if I could handle it. Not from a judgmental standpoint, because we all have things that we've been delivered from. However, I would feel like I wasn't enough. Sherry said, "Why wouldn't you be?" And the young lady said, "I would feel as if he got something from a man that I can't give. I would be uncomfortable if he had male friends, almost like I'm in competition." Sherry goes on to say, "So it's an inward insecurity? Why would, or would you have it for a straight man who's had multiple partners and a history of cheating?" And the young lady replied, "Sad to say, but yes, because I know what he gets from women. I don't understand the same attraction, so I would think it's more physical. I would feel it's emotional. I know that sounds silly, but it's my truth." Let's talk
That was a
about
good
that,
response.
Dr. Nancy.
It was a
Perfect
good one.
response.
That was a great response. She's looking at it from a whole nother angle or another aspect. She's saying, what if I'm not enough? What if, I can't satisfy him with what I have or what I'm doing, and he wants to go back to that. So, you know, that she was honest, and you can't take
Perfect
that from
response.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's really, I think, what a lot of people feel. They just don't say it. You know what I mean? Like layers. She
Mm-hmm.
spoke in layers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's what a lot of it is. And again, it's challenging. We can say that it's just like this with this, but from that community, it's very different. It really is, to try to be in a relationship. If we just be honest, because again, like she said, I don't know, if I close my eyes and you're with me intimately, are you thinking of a man?
Mm-hmm.
If I close my eyes and you're with me intimately, are you thinking of a woman? Right? It's something about it. And she said it. She said, my insecurity would
Mm-hmm.
say, and I think that that's where real dialogue and conversation comes for some. Everybody's, that's not for everybody, but
For
that
sure,
was
yeah.
real. Right? That was real, and that was a lot. And I've had men to say that to me. I don't know if I would be able to trust you on a girl's weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I would be able to do. That had nothing to do with me, because again, my deliverance is secured. But in them, because of that, there's that thing that Crystal, Coach Crystal, that elephant tribe in the room.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's so many layers because
Mm-hmm.
now to the person that is no longer that way, now it seems to me like you have to constantly fight to prove that I'm no longer that person. And that's exhausting. That
Yes.
is, trust me when I tell you, that's exhausting. Um, we're talking, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
just think that there's so many layers to this, and I don't want it to be that it's just the LGBTQ community, if you will,
Right.
because a
Right.
felon has to continue to fight to prove that
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
not that person
Yeah,
either.
well,
You know what
that's
I'm
true,
saying?
but I wanted specifically to talk about that tonight.
Well, I mean,
Sexual
but
preference.
it's still all the same. So I'm saying I don't want one person to feel like the light is just shined on them. I don't want anybody walking away like that, because we have a habit of doing that, making just one person feel like, and it's not that, because Tammy even mentioned if her husband has slept with a bunch of women. So
I think it hits a
And
lot of points.
that too is a
It
sexual,
hits a
that's
lot
a
of points.
preference.
All
That's a
of it is a
preference
preference.
also.
I know that we're talking about
Hey
this one
Denise.
specifically, and it's important that this is something that you should disclose. It is important, but I think that most people are in the mindset that if you present something to me that I don't want, and I decide to go against my boundary or go against what it was that I really wanted, there'll always be that question. You're always going to be nervous. Are you going to just up and run away? Are you going to hit me? Are you going to sleep with men again? Are you going to, whatever the case may be? I think as you know, goes across the board. It can hit many points.
It does. And I want to thank you, Daphne. Daphne, thank you for your support. Um, she sent a gift over to us. If you guys want to do that, you can support the ministry tonight by giving us a $7 gift. You can do that. Thank you. She gave more than seven. Thank you very much. But you can do that also. I think that regardless as to uh, what the case is, whether it be And Tammy Joseph, we do not condone slashing tires, by the way. We ain't cutting nobody tires up, women. Um, it's we're talking specifically tonight about a sexual preference, but in that, it like you said, it's more than a gay lesbian thing. Sexual preference. It's way more than that. It could be your preference could be whips and chains and handcuffs, huh?
Yeah.
Your preference could be sleeping with your body count may be way, way, way high. That may be your preference. But whatever it is, this is not again. Thank you, Dr. Nancy. You guys, this is not specifically tied to gay and lesbian. Whatever your preference is sexually, if you are going to have a real relationship and trying to get married to someone, the point is they should know beforehand that you like to tie people up and pour hot candle wax on them. They need to know this.
They
Okay?
need to know it.
That's your preference. Because they might not want hot candle wax poured on them. Whatever your preference is, these are important conversations. I'm being silly but serious at the same time. These are important conversations that need to happen before you say I do, because you can't be so thirsty to want to run down the aisle and not have these conversations. Now you've 10 years in and just finding out, why was you trying to pull candle wax on me? It happened before you. You didn't want to talk about it. You know.
So if I could say this,
Sherry, what you say?
so I was going to say, just even with what Coach was saying before. So I have a 12-year crack addiction in my history. That's something that needs to be shared as well.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's unfair to tell someone that you get right there. I've told you this part, but I didn't tell you that at one point in my life, I literally was a crack addict and did everything crack addicts do. All of those, you all talked about health and all of those things.
Yeah.
So I'm not opposed to being tested. I'm not opposed to doing any of that. If that's something, but let's do it together, because I have this and I'm transparent with this. You have what you have.
Yeah.
And if you're transparent, you want to get tested, let's get tested together. You want to do blood tests, let's do blood tests together. Let's do that and then go get something to eat. Whatever the case may be, I definitely think that all of those things that compile who you are should be put on the table.
Because it affects the lifestyle that you choosing to live with that person.
Absolutely.
And it may not, you may be 100% delivered, never do it again. You have no desire for it, but it is still going to affect the lifestyle. Like, we're not going to go to a neighborhood where that old lifestyle may have been. Even though you're not going to indulge, you may not want to be a part of that. And it may be something there. And it's like, oh, why we can't go there?
That's the conversation. You're absolutely right. That is the conversation that needs to be had. Because there's certain places I'm not going.
Yeah.
And I keep putting it on me because I can't speak for anybody. But there's just certain places I'm not going. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be involved with that. I'm not going around certain things. And so if I tell you that prior, then it won't be a surprise if maybe your family may be into it, right? I'm dating someone whose family may be into that, and they say, well, come on, I can't go over there. I can't do that. It won't be a surprise the day of me telling you why. So again, I think, like you said, the level of being honest and as soon as possible, as soon as you have feelings, I totally agree with that. And like I said, I've gotten to a stage in my life where I just say it. It is what it is. If you accept me, great. If you don't, but there's still that hurt and rejection when you know where it's coming from. When you know that you don't even see me. You see what I used to be. You see what I used to do. You see all of that, and you missing who you mentally. And like you said, across the board, if we do that mentally, you have to fight through that, right? And again, I just want to say this coming out to one of the things that you say is, will I ever really be married? Can someone really ever love me? Can someone ever commit to me? Can someone ever understand that what I was is not who I am? I know I go to God with those questions and have gone to, and till you get to a place where you feel you're good enough. until you get
Absolutely.
to a place where you say certain things, you start affirming you.
Mm.
So again, layers,
Now,
layers.
wait. Because number one, I hear a little change in your voice. So relax.
No, that's the way I talk.
Oh, hold on now.
No,
Hold
that's the way
on.
I talk.
But you say you are absolutely 100 in what you're saying. I also want to say congratulations to you, Sherry, for 28 years free. 28, you
Yeah.
said. Congratulations to you on that. And congrats to Patrina's husband, which is
Yes.
why I left this comment on the screen. She said, my husband was 3 years sober when I met him, and I began to go to AA meetings to understand who and what I am dating. And we had real conversations that we have been married for 15 years, and he has been sober for 18 years. Patrina, congratulations to you and your
Yes.
husband.
Huge.
That's a
Good.
wonderful thing.
Huge.
Wonderful thing. Listen,
Huge.
folks, listen, it's something for everybody. It's somebody for everybody. It's
Mm-hmm.
we cannot stress enough that it's important for you to sit the person down. Listen, if you love me enough to share with me who you really are or
Yeah.
who you really were
Mm-hmm.
before. You are very welcome, my love. Before we get into something real serious, because there is, see, I'm kind of following with, I'm with Coach on this, because if you go ahead and tell me and let me make the decision, whether it be yay or nay, and if
Mm-hmm.
it's nay, I ain't got no feelings involved in this.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Thank you for telling me. I appreciate that. But you
Mm-hmm.
know what? Nah, bro, that ain't for me. I'm gonna move on.
Yeah.
Because if you wait until feelings are involved, now I'm hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a whole nother can of worms. So
Mm-hmm.
I think different strokes for different folks, but
Yep.
you owe it to the person that you and see, here's another thing. Oh God, it really is layers. Here's another thing.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another thing. Um, the person who was uh or whatever, who is no longer that. I think that there is a fear of I, I I love this person that I'm with. I want to tell them, or I want to tell her, but I'm afraid of what the reaction will be, and I'm afraid that rejection. I'm afraid that they'll leave me, abandonment. I'm not that no more. I really want to go all in with you. But if I tell you, I'm scared of what you're going to do. And that ain't even who I am no more. So it's so much to this that
But there's always a chance of rejection. It doesn't have to specifically be for that. Because if you wait, I'm not rejecting you because of what you were. I'm rejecting you because
Because
now
you
my
waited.
man, you
You didn't
laughed.
give me a chance. Yep. You didn't give me a chance to choose.
It's
True.
a different type of
yeah,
rejection. But even if I decide, you know what, I can do it. Let's go ahead and jump in. And
Mm-hmm.
later on, something else might come up that I don't like. There's a
Mm-hmm.
chance of rejection.
Mm-hmm.
but Dr. Nancy, you're the marriage counselor. How do you fight? How do you fight when, and I'm just going to give you this scenario.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to a woman who says, I love my husband to death,
Mm-hmm.
but he just told me after we're married that this is who he used to be? I don't want to be with him anymore, but I love him. How do you deal with that
Well, we have
as,
layers to deal with.
as a marriage counselor?
We
What's
have
your
we have we have layers to deal with at that point because first of all, we've got to know if the person. Our first question, I've told you this before, whenever we counsel any couple, is, do you want your marriage? So that's the number one question, before we even try to step in a ring and begin to peel back. The number one question is, you all have said I do.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want your marriage? And each person has to be honest enough to say yay or nay. If you say no, what are we fighting?
No.
If you say yes, I want my marriage. So now but this is what's the problem. Let's get in a ring and deal with it. Because now, if you're a Christian couple, now we need to go to God about it. We need to pray about it. We need to seek the face of God and figure out how we're going to maneuver through this. If you're actually going to be able to handle it and or deal with it. Is he going to equip you? Will he equip you? Or we know he will, but are you going to be available to be equipped to handle it? Mm-hmm. And then now you've got to even deal with the natural aspect of it, because now you're hurt, you're feeling betrayed. So we've got some layers we've got to peel back on both sides. Why did he feel like he couldn't tell her prior to the I do?
That's the question.
We got to deal with that too.
Powerful.
Why so on both sides,
that's a good question.
Individually and corporately, we've got some stuff we got to deal with. So again, we've got layers to peel back.
That's a very good question, Sherry. Why do you think? What's your opinion, Sherry, and then Coach Crystal? What's your opinion? Why do you think that? Let's come out of church. Let's come out of church. Why do you think that people have a hard time revealing who they once were to their present company, so to speak? I want to hear from Sherry and then Coach Crystal. Hey, Bishop Holloway, Minister Delvin Haynes, I'm so glad you guys are with me tonight. Thank you so much.
I think we kind of said it earlier, Pastor. It's the insecurity. It's the fear of rejection. It's all of those things, and all of that is unfair still. Mm-hmm. All of that is still unfair. And I think that what people need to understand is the revealing, although it gives the other individual the opportunity to say yay or nay, that should really be for you. There's a freedom that comes with being open, right? In anything, there's a freedom that comes with that. So when I reveal, though I want you to know, I'm revealing for me and my own freedom. Mm-hmm. So that I'm not going to walk around with this big dark secret, hoping that if we walk down the street, don't nobody see me. Hoping that if we go somewhere and they recognize, I'm not going to do that. I'm just not going to spend my life like that. So, and then if I say I love you, and I say or I'm intentional about being with you, mm-hmm. I'm intentional about going forward with no one else. The data process has stopped, and you is you it, and you who I want. Then if this is for me, then we can get past this. And if it's not, then I know and you know. So but it's the rejection, and sometimes that rejection. And I know I'm trying to stay here because you said we're talking about the sexual
outside the church, right?
But I'm trying to stay here. It is when we talk about this community, it's hard because people identify it with just sex for some, and because I did you did this with this and you did that with that, and it's very hard to get past that, I think, for some. But my answer would be that what we discussed earlier, it's the fear of rejection. It's the fear of being alone. It's the fear of all of that, especially if your heart is in it, right? That's that song, If My Heart Wasn't It, my heart is in it. And so I want you to see me here. I want you to see me now. I want you to love me now, all of that. And then you tell me that the reason why you won't is because of that. That's very hurtful, as it would be with anything. But I think that they just don't say because they don't want to lose, and they're too afraid to open up.
I agree. Thank you, Minister Nita, for your gift. I did receive it. Thank you very much. Coach Crystal.
I think that there are a lot of reasons why people don't disclose information. People want to be in control of the situation. And I feel like if I wait or I disclose it when I'm ready, I can control the scenario. People think, I think that this young lady, she said they don't want it to be thrown back up into their face, mm-hmm. which is a fact. Mm-hmm. Because I might take it in. I might say, oh, okay, that's great. I can accept it. And then years down the line, you'll do something. They'll say, well, that's because, mm-hmm. or, you doing this because you really want to be There's judgment, there's rejection, there's fear, there's all of these things.
Mhm.
But it's the person. You have to be in control of your situation. So if I tell you now and you leave, I've lost control. I don't have any control in the situation. You're gone. So I feel like if I can, just like she said, if I can love you, if I can get you to commit to me emotionally, maybe it'll be an easier blow when I tell you.
Mhm.
Or maybe you'll love me so
Oh
much that it
boy.
won't matter.
Oh
It
boy.
won't matter. We're in love. It won't matter.
I don't think you should wait. I want to clarify that because I don't think you should wait till you in love. I
Oh, I
said if
don't.
you have
I
feelings,
100% agree with that.
yeah, if you have those feelings, if you know again, if you know this is it, this is what I want to pursue, you should be telling them. You should be saying that. Now, what I also believe is no two people have the same idea of what's too soon and what's too late, because there's some people who say, like you said, first second date, I need to know. Some people say I'll wait till fourth or fifth. Some people say I'll wait a little longer. I personally believe that before you get to where you are, what you just said, that's perfect. You should know, because you're going to know what I did. You're going to know where I was. You're going to know all of that, because you have a right to know, and I have a right to be free in a relationship
But
with you.
that's our thought process. That's
Right?
not
No, no, no,
everyone.
no. That's what I'm saying. I'm giving you the opportunity
Yeah.
to say yes or no, but I'm also freeing me. So if I waited until marriage, that's very selfish. That's very controlling. I
It
totally agree.
is.
But if I give you initially, like you said, if I say between the one, because I believe that I've probably talked to you before that scenario. I've talked to you 4 or 5 times on the phone. I already get this feeling of what it is. We go out a couple of times. I promise you, you're gonna know. You're gonna know all of it. You're gonna know, and you have the ability then to either say yes or no. And I, whether it hurt or not, I'll be okay. Because if
Mhm.
you reject me, then I've done right by you and I've done right by me.
Exactly.
Mhm. I want to say that we are sending out the prayer warriors to pray for Tammy Joseph tonight because something is wrong with her. Something is wrong with Tammy. I love her so much. Um, one last thing, and we're gonna get out of here tonight. You guys have been so open and transparent. I love it. So real. Um, what do we say? I want to throw this one to Dr. Nancy because Tabitha, we shut up.
I got Tammy back too, though.
I want
What
to
do
throw
you
this one to
think?
Dr. Nancy before we leave. Thank you, Bishop. We love you. You are the Bishop of Illustration. That's what I call you. I love watching his Sunday services. Um, anyway, Dr. Nancy, what do we say? Or yeah, what do we say? Because there are a number of people across this globe who have gotten married, have children, they have families, they have lives, they built lives
Mm-hmm.
together, and some, Dr. Nancy, are like they feel like, why did I do this? This was a mistake. I hate that I did this, but I'm stuck. I want you to know I've heard the words I feel stuck. And I didn't know what to say because I just don't. I don't know what to say to that person. Um, do you have any advice for the person who feels stuck, or for the person who is stuck with the person that feels stuck?
You're talking just
Dr.
marriages.
Nancy, go for it.
You're talking marriages in general, correct?
I'm talking marriage in general right now.
Perfect.
I, I'm, 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 I'm this
You
person.
off the hook.
Let me use me. I'll use me. I'm this person who uh, I felt like I wanted to be married, so I got married. But another part of me wasn't done, and now I have kids. Now I have a wife, and now that I have these kids and this wife, I feel stuck because that part of me is not dead, and I want it. Talk to that person.
Well, typically we tell people to remember why, their why. We're big on like back pocket scriptures, back pocket post-it notes. Why did you get married? Why did you say yes? What was it that caused you to fall in love with that person? And it's that's going to keep and maintain you being grounded, keep your boundaries and parameters in place. You're not going to like them every day. If I told you you're going to like them every day, I'd be lying to you. You'll love them, but you won't like them every day. And so that's why it's important to remember why you love them for those moments where you're feeling stuck. Because if you've been married any amount of time, at some point you feel stuck. You're thinking about, okay, do I still want to be in here? Why am I in here? Well, I could have been doing this, or I could have been doing that, or whatever the case may be. It's important once you've gotten married and or while you're being married, getting married, as you're going through those counseling, to identify your why. And it's that why that's going to drive that marriage.
Thank you. That was really good. Before we leave, and we got about another 5 minutes, I want everybody that can to share a $7 gift with this ministry tonight. We are trying to do some things, and we do solicit your support. Just $7. You can't even get a number one from McDonald's for that. So please, the way is to do that, scrolling across your screen. Will you be so kind to share $7 with this ministry tonight? We thank you in advance for what you're going to do. Coach Crystal, I want you to speak to the woman. Speak to the woman who feels that she doesn't, the woman that may be suffering from low self-esteem, who says, this is probably the best I can get. This is who he is. So I'm going to take him. Talk to that woman.
I think it's important while you're single to identify who you are, to learn how to love yourself, to determine what you're willing to accept, put up with, create some boundaries for yourself. You want to determine what it is that you're looking for in a mate, because you already possess those characters. You know, is this person good with family? Are they good with children? Are they established? Do they have a plan, a 5-year plan? What are their goals? You need to know all of that for you in order for you to see what it is that you want. If you don't know who you are, you'll put up and you'll settle for anything. And I'm not saying that those individuals are just anything, but if they don't fit your profile,
that's right. That's right.
Then what are we doing?
That's right.
So if you have low self-esteem, it's some self-work that you need to do so that you can build that esteem back up.
That's really good. Next week, next Monday, part 2. We continue part 2 of Before We Say I Do. And one of the biggest reasons that a lot of marriages and relationships fail is money, money, money. Don't miss next week. Again, don't forget to, if you can, share a $7 gift with the ministry tonight. And before we go, Prophetess Sherry Bean, I want you to talk to, before you do, Dr. Nancy has something.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. And she didn't ask me to do this. Prophet Sherry is an author, and her book is absolutely phenomenal and deals with this subject, her life, her redemption from rejection. And I think that it's important that we mention that. And is it still available?
Yes, it's on Amazon. It's called From Rejection to Redemption, One Woman's Journey. It is on Amazon, yes.
All right. When we end this live, Sherry, I want you to go back in the comments and post that Amazon link so that everybody can, who wants to purchase that, can absolutely do that. And on our way off the show tonight, Prophetess Sherry, I want you to talk to the man or the woman who is now who you were. I want you to talk to them, give them some advice, some tips on how to become who you are now. And I'm going to spotlight you. I want to spotlight you because this is important, guys. At the end of the day, while we're talking and we're having fun and we're giving tips and sharing our opinions and all of this, but at the end of the day, It is our goal, it is our desire that you live the best life for you. And there are people who have gone through experiences and they've said that what we go through is not for us, it's for somebody else. And I believe that Sherry B has lived a life and is now living a life that is God ordained. I believe the God in her, the God that she talks about, preaches about. I believe that it's real, it's believable. So
Yes.
I want you, Sherry, to take a few moments to just really talk to that person, even the person that may be dealing with rejection, the person that may be dealing with abandonment, the person that may be feeling like, yeah, I'm gay or I'm lesbian. They won't love me, or I used to be a womanizer. They don't want me now. Talk to you. You get what I'm saying. Talk to those people before we get off of here.
So the first thing I would say to anybody is, if you want to be free, if you want to be delivered, if you want to be done, there is a God that can walk you through that. I am the first one to say that my walk and my journey was not easy. It was not easy. There are many times when it was easier to go back to what was familiar and what was comfortable, even though it was killing me, than to try to stay and fight. The hardest fight is from within. So I would say to anyone, the first thing that you have to do is look at yourself and understand you're not a mistake. Understand that you're here for purpose. I went to God and I said, very simply, I said, God, if this is not the life and the lifestyle that you want me to be in to live, then you are going to have to change my appetite. And because I've only eaten one thing for years, so you're going to have to change my appetite. And that was sin. So you're going to have to change my appetite. And somewhere along there, he heard me. And all of a sudden, what once felt good and felt great didn't feel good. It didn't feel great anymore. It started repulsing me. One of the things that stopped me from doing, I don't do what I don't like to do that doesn't feel good to me. And so God started recreating me. And there was a self-hatred and a self-loathing inside of me. I just didn't like what was looking back at me. And I could not love myself because I did not know the love of Christ. I did not know the power of the love of Christ. And the perfect love cast out fear. So I had all kind of stuff going on. I was walking around with legions. I wasn't just walking around with one thing. I was walking around with legions. So I needed deliverance. And for many years, I sat in an emergency room when I needed to be in trauma. And so there's a time when you have to look within. So I would say to anyone who is challenged in the space that you're in, breathe. You're not a mistake. You are meant to be here. You are somebody amazingly wonderful. God knows it, and whether you believe it or not, hell knows it. And so I would say to you, go to the one who created you and give yourself back to him. Sometimes you got to lay your own self on the altar and be the sacrifice that is needed. So I would say to you that you are worthy. You are worthy and you are worthy. I am praying for those who may be challenged, whether it's mentally, emotionally, spiritually, sexually, whatever it is. The manifestation that most people judge you by is just a result of what's going on the inside. And I also apologize to those who have mishandled, for those who mishandled you. But God chose you. You've always been the one. The same Christ that bled and died for everyone else is the same one that did it for you. You are not above his redemption. You can actually reach out to me if you want. I'm on Facebook. You can reach out to me and I'll try and I can talk with you, pray with you. If I don't have the answer, I know some people who do. So I am praying for your peace from within. And may you be delivered from the very thing you thought you die in, because I thought I'd die in what I was living in. And if God can do it for me, whew, I can't imagine what he'll do for you. So I'm praying for you. And that's how I would say to someone, ask God to change your appetite.
Thank you, Prophetess Sherry Bean. It's almost springtime. It's time for double good popcorn and Girl Scout cookies. So y'all bring it on. We will be ready for you. I
The
want
Girl
some
Scout
cookies
cookies
and I
gone.
want
That's
some
done.
popcorn.
The
That's
Girl
all of
Scout,
that's finished.
the Girl Scout cookies are done, honey. You missed that sale. If you ain't catching them outside at Jewel's or Walgreens, you're not gonna be able to get
No,
those.
You're done.
no, I didn't see them at Jewel or Walgreens.
Well, you're done.
You're done.
It's March. You're done. That's
Well,
February.
somebody always selling double good popcorn. I'm gonna get me some of that.
Oh,
I
right.
love y'all. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you guys for tuning in to the self-checkout show. This is your favorite Christian talk show. Thank you so much, Prophet Sherry Bean, for being with us tonight, for being transparent, for telling your story. Please don't forget to go back and put your Amazon link in the comments so that we can purchase
buy the book.
Buy the book.
Thank you,
Please,
Pastor
please,
Nancy.
please.
Yes.
For Coach Crystal, for Dr. Dancy, I'm Pastor Will. We'll be back next Monday night for part 2. Money, money, money. Before we say I do, we got to talk about that coin. Be back with us next Monday night. I love you guys. Good night, everybody.
Good night.